Good evening. Thank you so much for being here at our special call meeting. Today is November the 2nd, 2023. We want to go ahead and take this time to officially call the meeting to order tonight. For our invocation, I'm going to ask that Commissioner Cowan lead us in our invocation, and I'm going to ask that Commissioner Edwards, if you would, lead us in our pledge, please.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you, dear God, for your blessings, Lord. We thank you, Lord, for our county. Lord, we pray that you give us the wisdom to make good decisions tonight, Lord. We pray for everybody that's here, Lord God, and pray, God, they'll trust you, Lord, as Savior. Lord, we thank you for all things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Again, thank you so much for being here tonight. I seek a motion that we approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Sanders. In the discussion, all in favor? It passes 5-0. Tonight we're here for our public hearing. Ms. Applewhite, if you would, please come on up. Got just a few housekeeping rules. Tonight, the applicant and those that are in favor will get a 10-minute time slot to speak. Those opposing will get the same 10 minutes. We do not allow, this is a live board meeting, so we do not allow a lot of clapping and outbursts. Please put your phone on silence or vibrate, please, if you don't mind at this time. We want to make sure that you get opportunity to voice your opinion. So if you have a big crowd to hear tonight for a particular item, you might want to get with 2 or 3 people that can be the captain that'll get a chance to speak, because there is a 10-minute time lot for those that are opposing and those that are speaking in favor tonight. With that being said, Ms. Applewhite.
Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, Chairman, board members. Our first petition this evening, we have 4. This is FLU 23-00006 over at 43 Dry Pond Road, and the applicant has actually submitted a request to have this application withdrawn at this time.
Thank you. This is District.
It is
District 1.
District 1.
Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This time I'd like to make a motion that this board accept the withdrawal of the application for flume change, FLU 23-00006.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Edwards and second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. It stands withdrawn.
Our second petition this evening is a rezoning. It is REZ 23-000013. It's located at 2601 Access Road. And Chairman, this applicant has also requested today that his petition be withdrawn at this time as well.
Thank you.
And it is Mr. John Nix.
Thank you. This is in District 3. Commissioner Sanders.
I make a motion to accept the withdrawal of the application for REZ 23-000013.
Is there a second, please? Second. It's been motioned by Commissioner Sanders and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. That item stand withdrawn as well.
Okay, Chairman, our next petition this evening is CUP 23-000009. The proposed use, the current use is the restaurant business World of Wings. This is located at 5350 Highway 20, and the parent parcel is 5352 Highway 20, so it's located in a strip mall. The parcel size is 0.82 acres. The tax ID is 00078A039A. The future land use is mixed use. The existing zoning is neighborhood commercial. It's in the South River watershed in Commissioner District 2. The current owner is 5350 Covington LLC, and our petitioner today is Christopher Todd Thomas. And the applicant's intent is to sell alcohol at the restaurant. And again, it is located in a commercial complex on 0.82 acres. Current name is the Wing Shop. The history: on 10/24/2023, the Planning Commission voted to approve the petition by a vote of 4-0. And then I have the definition for a restaurant business, Division 505. I won't go through that or the requirements. These are included in your packets. If there are any questions. And in conclusion, given the fact that the property is in proximity to commercial zonings and the applicant's proposed uses of the land, staff is of the opinion that the conditional use permit may be appropriate for this site. Fire Marshal has approved the establishment with an indoor seating capacity of 68 seats, which exceeds the minimum that is required, which is just 40 seats to sell alcohol. And the restaurant is located in proximity to other eating establishments and commercial uses. Recommended conditions: if the petition is approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved for a conditional use permit to allow the restaurant to sell alcohol on its premises, subject to the owner's agreement to the following conditions. 1, the owner's agreement to restrict the sale of alcohol to the following: A restaurant business only. 2, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following development standards. A, any required permits or licenses must be obtained from development services. B, business and alcohol license should be obtained from development services. C, alcohol beverage shall not be sold for consumption on the premises except between the hours of 9 a.m. until 1:45 a.m. Monday through Saturday, and between the hours of 12:30 p.m. and midnight on Sundays. D, alcoholic beverages may be sold for consumption on the premises from 12 midnight to 1:45 a.m. on any Monday that is New Year's Day, January 1st of any year. And E, all employees must have a pouring permit. So conditions C through E are actually included in our ordinance. Those are the times that are allowed. This is a location. It is in the Kroger Shopping Center off of Highway 20. So it's located in this commercial strip here. Current zoning, neighborhood commercial. The future land use map is mixed use. It's in the South River watershed, Commissioner District 2. And these are just site photos of the restaurant. So he's added outdoor seating as well. And this is just different outdoor pictures of it. And if there are any questions for staff, if not, I do believe Mr. Thomas is here, Chairman.
You want to address it? You want to address it? Thank you.
Ms. Applewhite, can you go back to the conditions, please?
Sure.
Just to clarify, E, does it need to be all employees must have a pouring permit, or is it all bartenders and servers?
It would be specifically the bartenders.
Okay.
Or anyone who will be handling or serving the alcohol.
Thank
So-
you for that clarification.
So do we need to change the language? I think we need to change the
You
language.
absolutely can, yeah.
Commissioner Mason, can you correct that in the language? Okay, at the time? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Applewhite. You ready to open it up for the public hearing? You ready? Okay.
Sorry?
Ready to open it up for the public hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At this time, it's actually 7:38. We're gonna open it up for our public hearing for the applicant and those that would like to speak in favor tonight. You have 10 minutes to do so. You may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. The applicant and those that would like to speak in favor.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr.
Good evening.
Chairman, Commissioners, Ms. Applewhite. Kind of got a little jet lag. I had a vacation planned for me and had to cut it short to come to this meeting, so I just got off the plane, so just bear with me. I was gonna write stuff down on the plane, but I really just speak from my heart. We are applying for alcohol license because we're really invested in this business as far as with the community. A lot of our customers are complaining that this county won't let us have alcohol. Nobody in that corridor has alcohol at all. But if you go down about a half a mile, get Rockdale County, get all the alcohol you want. So basically, all our customers going to Rockdale County to get their alcohol they want to drink with their food that they're eating. So the previous owners that had this restaurant, They basically wanted you to come in, get your food, and go. They didn't want you to drink their drinks that you have, you get the combos. You feel like they were spending too much money on you sitting down and enjoying yourself. Well, we have a totally different concept. We had a fire back in January 6th. Small fire, but it was blessed to be able to take that money and make a real nice establishment for our customers to come and sit down, have a good time. We have jazz playing all the time throughout the whole restaurant, the patio. You saw the pictures where they had the patio. We spent a lot of money on the patio so you can enjoy yourself. But they're saying, we want to eat, we want to go home and eat our wings without beer. You ain't got no beer in here, you ain't got no wine. So it kind of touched me a little bit. Now, this has been a lengthy process for me to get to this point, which I'm glad I am. All the applications I done filled out, the money I done spent, the time I done spent chasing people down, it's been real lengthy, I'd say that. But I think it's worth it. We, at World of Wings, we know our customers by name. You come in, you know, we'll speak to you, we'll greet you, and we're committed to it. So the purpose of this is to provide our customers with a family environment. No, we're not Applebee's, no, we're not Longhorn, you know, we're not the big chain restaurants. We're the small family restaurant that's in the Kroger Plaza, and we want to provide our customers the same thing they can get down the street in Rockdale County. That's basically what we're trying to do here. So we ain't trying to exploit nobody, trying to break the rules. We want to do it the right way, but we want to provide a service to our customers that we feel like they deserve. You know, we got big TVs up. You can come watch the game, all the fights. We give you all the fights for free, the pay-per-view fights. Come in, sit down with us, enjoy your time. They don't want to do it. You know, you ain't got no alcohol. Everybody want to drink. Now, that's a challenge for me. I had to get an additional POS system because we have some young students that we give opportunity to have a job, their first job. We got 3 students that's their first job they ever had. They live in the community. So they can't touch it. I got 2 POS systems up there now. I'm going to provide another POS system that if you don't have the credentials, the pouring license or whatever, you can't touch it. That's where the alcohol will be at. So I'm spending a little bit of extra money to make sure I do it the right way. You know, I don't want to do it, come in, I don't want to lose the license before I get it. You know, let people test alcohol ain't supposed to have it. So, you know, we're making an investment to provide a service to our customers that we feel like they deserve in our area. This is 2021, going to be 2022. It's crazy that you can't get no alcohol on this side of town. And once you leave on Highway 20, when you pass me, nothing is there. There's no more food. I'm the last resort. So that's the reason why we're here tonight, hoping to get approved that we can provide this service to our customers.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Please state your name, your address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is
Good evening.
Alfonso Henry Henley, 55 Riverbrook Trail. What I came to speak here was the District 1 subject, but since that was canceled out, wings, alcohol, jazz. I don't drink alcohol. I'm vegan, but I love jazz. And this area needs a venue that people can sit down without cell phones, without communication devices, and talk and listen to something smooth. I love the jazz that's coming out of Europe these days. It's enlightening, seriously enlightening. But anywhere that we can sit and listen and talk and communicate, and jazz is something that can cross lines. It doesn't have to be one genre or another. Everyone loves a soft, easy listening to jazz, especially if it's non-instrumental. You know, I would love to have some place to come in town and hear jazz. I had to say something about that. I love jazz. It's all I listen to. Thank you.
Can you give me your name one more time?
My name is Alfonso
Alfonso.
Henley, Henley.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Sir, would you like to reserve your 4 minutes for rebuttal? We'll save them for you. Okay, thank you. We also allow 10 minutes for those that would like to oppose. If you would like to oppose tonight, you may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please. Anyone would like to oppose? Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jeff Bishop, 10144 Twin Oaks Drive, Covington. I really didn't come here tonight to speak to this issue. I don't care about the restaurant. I don't really care about what they're doing, but I would ask on the alcohol part if we could restrict sales on Sundays. I've lived in this county most of my life. I remember when it was a dry county. To me, it was a better place to live back then. Things were safer. I think communities were more healthy then. I've never seen one positive thing that's ever come from the sale or the consumption of beverage alcohol. I have seen it destroy a lot of families. I've seen it destroy people's health. I've seen people die on the roads from it. And I don't think it's a good thing, but I do realize that we're far down the road in this county on this subject now. 20 years ago, I spoke regularly against legalizing a package sales around the county, and that water's already, crossed under the bridge now. I realize that. But I would ask that on Sundays, that we would consider amending these recommended conditions to restrict the sale of alcohol to exclude Sundays.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else would like to oppose tonight? Anyone else would like to oppose tonight? Thank you. Ms. Applewhite. Sir, would you like to come back and say anything before we move forward? Brian, if you can go back to 4 minutes, please.
Yes, basically, I can understand what the gentleman's saying as far as Sunday's concerned. I don't think it's a hindrance to have it on Sunday. I wouldn't oppose if it wasn't on Sunday. But anywhere else you go, you're going to get alcohol 7 days a week. I'm not trying to bend the rules or break the rules. You go to Applebee's, you get it 24/7. I understand the gentleman's concern, and like I said, I can understand where he's coming from. But when you get to my side of town, there ain't nothing at all. I mean, nothing. It's dry, like he said. And I just want to be able to provide a service for the community, pretty much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Ms. Applewhite. I think this is in District 2, Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to actually make a motion to approve CUP 23-000009 with the correction to condition letter E, with only those bartenders or those serving the alcohol to obtain a pouring permit.
It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? Commissioner Sanders?
It's not, well, I guess it's more of a clarification, and you could probably help me on that. If they're serving, do they have to have a permit? Like, for instance, if a waiter gets it from the bar and they're bringing it to the customer, do they need a permit for that as well?
If they're handling the alcohol, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted for clarification.
Anyone else? Any more discussion? All in favor? It passes 5-0. Thank you. Ms. Applewhite.
Thank you, Chairman. Our next petition this evening is FLU 23-000007. Is a flume amendment. The existing land use map is rural residential and the parks recreation conservation. The proposed land use map would be development node and parks, recreation, conservation. The existing zoning is agricultural residential. It's in the Alcovy watershed, and it's located on Highway 278. The tax ID number, the map and parcel numbers, the map number is 99, and the parcel numbers are as follows: 001, 001E, 004, 004A, 004B, 004D, 004E, 001A, 003, 001D, 045, and 002. The approximate acreage is 93 acres. It is located in the following Carter areas: emerging suburban, live-work corridor, and conservation and recreation area. This is located in Commissioner District 5. The current owner is J.H. Morgan Farms LP, and the petitioner is Inline Communities LLC, represented by Phil Johnson. And again, the future land use map, it's currently rural residential and the PRC, and they are proposing to go to development node and to maintain the PRC. And applicant's intent is to designate the future land use of approximately 90 acres from rural residential and PRC to development node PRC2 in order to seek a rezoning of the property for a community-oriented residential development, or a CORD. And bit on history, on 10/24/2023, the Planning Commission voted to deny the petition by a vote of 4-0. The applicant presented a full traffic study to us. This is just a synopsis, and I wanted to point out, so the AM peak hour, they have a total trips of 298, and the PM peak hour, 410 trips, and then the PM during school, 434 trips. And this is also included in your packet. The Carter areas, pursuant to the Newton County 2023 Comprehensive Plan, the project is located in the following Carter areas and is correlated with the following appropriate land uses and policies. And the first we said is emergent suburban. I will not read through this. It is included in your packet, and please let me know if there are any questions. But one of the land uses that is allowed is a development node, and an appropriate zoning for this Carter area is a CORD. The second Carter area is the live-work area. Again, appropriate land use that it does allow is a development node, and it also allows the CORD zoning. And the conservation recreation, a portion of the acreage that they're looking at is a floodplain and streams, and that is a part that also falls into this Carter area. And the land uses for that are the parks, recreation, conservation, and of course the watershed overlay. And the applicant is proposing to maintain the conservation. So in conclusion, the approximately 90 acres is currently undeveloped pursuant to the emerging suburban, live-work corridor, and the conservation and recreation Carter areas appropriate land uses. Development node and PRC are suitable land use requests. The applicant's intent is to rezone to a community-oriented residential development, or a CORD. The development being proposed will consist of mixed uses, residential and commercial. The mixed-use development will consist of 366 residential units and 10.29 acres of commercial space on approximately 93.79 acres. There will be 203 single-family detached lots, 163 townhome units. The traffic study was complete, and the trip generations were provided in a summary above. So while the development is compatible with the county's Carter areas, it lies in the Alcovy River watershed. Now, this watershed specifies a minimum lot size of 2 acres. By amending the flume to the development node, the density of the Alcovy watershed will no longer apply per section 420060 of the Unified Development Ordinance. Further, the project must have sewer access, which the applicant has not secured at this time from the City of Covington. And the City of Covington has told us that they have a few projects ahead of this one. So the applicant must also seek approval from GDOT for entrances, ingress and egress to the development. So should the board decide to approve this petition, staff is of the opinion that the future land use amendment may be appropriate in the area based on the Carter areas. However, Consideration should also be given to the Alcovy River watershed's requirements and the ability to secure and to meet sewer requirements. This is the flume amendment, so there are no recommendations made at this time. However, if the petition is approved and it comes back before you as a rezoning, at that time the board could apply recommendations. This is the location of the properties. There are several parcels as I read out. It's along Highway 278. Current zoning is AR, agricultural residential. Rural residential is the current flume. It's in the Alcovy River watershed. District 5. These are the character areas shown. So the parcels are up here. So they have a little bit of the live work, the PRC, and of course, emerging suburban. This is a survey that was submitted by the applicant. And this is showing the tract, how they plan to divide it to have the development. And this is a concept plan showing the proposed layout of the development. So they'll have the commercial spaces close to 278, townhomes here, and then the single-family homes in the yellow. And if there are any questions for staff, if not, the applicant is present.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to open it up for the applicant and those that would like to speak in favor tonight. If you would, please come and state your name and your address for the record, please. The applicant and those that would like to speak in favor tonight.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman
good
and
evening,
members
sir.
of the Newton County Board of Commissioners. My name is Phil Johnson, and I live at 2173 Floyd Street in Covington. I'm an attorney, and I represent the Morgan family. The Morgan family has owned Morgan Farms since 1946, when Jack Morgan purchased the land upon returning from World War II. I'm not going to take your time going through my presentation package. That was sent to you by Development Services with your package. But I do want to just touch in summary on what our proposal calls for. Morgan Farms is located on Highway 278, just east of the Alcovy River. We are seeking to amend the future land use map to allow a mixed-use development. The mixed-use development would include 93.29 acres. That would be a mixed-use residential, which would have 366 units of blended townhouses and single-family residential lots. None of this would be rental. All of this will be for-sale product. And it includes 55 acres along the Alcovy River, which will be recreational land used in conjunction with the development. It'll also contain a 1.8-mile long walking trail, which will serve the residents. This will truly be a live, work, play community. Now, Sheena had mentioned the sewer. Let me relate to you. I met on October the 12th with Trace Thomas, who's the city manager, and Frank Turner, the city attorney, and we talked about sewer. They told me two things. One, that the Department of Community Affairs had approved the intergovernmental agreement and your assignment of the service delivery area for sewer to the city of Covington. And the second was, since that had occurred, the city of Covington had issued a work order to their design engineers, Carter and Sloop, to design the sewer to serve this property and the property in the service delivery area along 278. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to reserve the balance of my time for rebuttal, and I'll be glad to answer any question the commissioners have.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else would like to speak in favor? Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Anyone else would like to speak in favor tonight? Thank you. We'll reserve 7 minutes and 22 seconds. We also allow 10 minutes for those that would like to oppose tonight. If you would like to oppose tonight, you may come at this time. Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Kim Shue. My address is 60 Quail Valley Road, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen. I am very much against this project. We have a lot of development coming around in our city and county that's just now coming out of the ground, and we are yet to know what the full impact of our basic services will be and the financial impact as it relates to the taxes to the citizens of the county. I believe the ramifications of this project will place an undue tax burden on the citizens in terms of sewer development, roadway maintenance, the increased need for police and fire, as well as lead to the overcrowding of our schools, just to name a few. We have heard from the petitioner about future sewer lines and traffic studies. However, if sewer lines are needed to support this effort, I would like to point out the comprehensive plan does state that the county should consider availability of existing infrastructure as well as cost of new infrastructure and encourage developers to contribute to that cost. I have not seen a plan from this developer to assist with the cost of running new sewer lines, which is needed in their plan for this development as to offset the cost of expansion. If you visit the inline developer's website, you will see that they are advertising a 250 townhome development off of Kirkland Road. In fact, you will see a variety of projects that are there that they're working through the metro Atlanta area. Many are very nice. However, the development in our county is a baseline project that is clearly defined as rental. The development proposed here is another baseline project. At the proposed price point, it creates opportunity for corporations to come in and purchase multiple units and turn these into rental properties also. The outrage in the community over rentals and apartment has been loud, and the potential for this to become another rental development is higher than average. I hold in my hand an ordinance adopted in February 2009 regarding the overlay district regulations, and it's signed by Kathy Morgan, the same Kathy Morgan of the very family that is here petitioning today and attempting to skirt its way around the very ordinances she approved. It clearly states in section 420-060B, and I quote, "The minimum lot size for any lot within the district shall be 2 acres. In addition, there is no sewer availability on this land currently, and therefore it would also be held to the septic requirement provisions, which also require a minimum 2-acre lot size. Simply put, this flume change is in direct conflict with the 2009 overlay district regulations and the watershed area." Additionally, the comprehensive plan specifically calls out for protection of the watershed areas, and I quote from it, "The county should protect its natural resources and recognize its surrounding agricultural areas, wetlands, floodplains, and habitat that convey a sense of place." It also states that the county should preserve and protect the Yellow River, the South River, and the Alcovey River from development. Our wildlife and water should be protected as the comprehensive plan advises. Watershed protections are put in place for a reason, and they should not be dismissed, overlooked, or subjected to mathematical wizardry in such a manner so that the almighty dollar prevails over the needs of the environment, existing regulations, or the concerns of its citizens. Citizens are getting tired of being overlooked, managed, and steamrolled by a select few in the county and the outside interests they represent. If Kathy Morgan thought the adoption of this watershed protection ordinance was needed in 2009, then it remains just as important, if not more important, today. If those who contributed to the recommendations of the comprehensive study, who were clear on the protections of watershed and natural resources so that the community and its citizens can maintain a sense of place, and we don't listen, what good are they? You'll have a chance to do the right thing, abide by the ordinances, help maintain the sense of place that people love about our community, and stand with the citizens and vote no. And finally, I was reminded as I was sitting out here just a few minutes ago, I was here several weeks ago, and a measure was before you all, and Commissioner Sanders made a really good point at that time that she was making the point that she hoped other commissioners would support her and her district when people in her district didn't want something there. And right now, people in district, Mr. Cowan's district and Mr. Edwards' district don't want this. So I hope that there is a professional courtesy extended to those districts this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else would like to speak opposing tonight? Please state your name, your address for the record, please.
Name is David Norton. I live at 4357 Highway 142 in Newborn. Thank you for hearing us. This hearing was called for one project, but we're not here to discuss just this flume change. We're here to discuss the future of the entire east side of Newton County and what the citizens want. The purpose of zoning is to protect the quality of life, not ensure a profit for property owners. I sent everyone here an email earlier in the week. I hope you all read it. It contained several hard questions that need to be investigated and asked of the developer. Planning and zoning realized this last week and voted 4-0 for denial. Regarding the trail area that Mr. Johnson mentioned, P&Z asked last week who's going to retain ownership, and I believe he said that the Morgan family would retain ownership of that one little section. Who's responsible for upkeep of, is the county going to be responsible for a private citizen's property? The city of Covington had a similar place come at Neely Farms come before them just a while back. They denied it. Maybe they know something we don't. I've heard that DOT has no plans for the bypass till 2057. In the review, the character area, it says it will change from emerging suburban to village center, making it ideal for heavy commercial. Also, there was an impact study done. The impact study, I believe, was not done by an unbiased third party. That's like asking a used car salesman, what's wrong with this car you're selling me? How can we do an impact on a service that doesn't exist? He mentioned the city was planning for sewer. What are they planning for? Are they planning for 10,000 people? Are they going to plan for 100,000 people? The left hand needs to know what the right hand is doing before we approve this. If not, you have a recipe for disaster. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else would like to oppose tonight? Please state your name, your address for the record, please.
Good evening. I'm Susan Elliott Carter, and my address is 982 Jeff Cook Road, Mansfield, Georgia. I was born here. I moved away, but never without spending many, many weekends here at my family farm. I'm back, and I'm here to tell you that I have taught school for 37 years in Georgia. I taught in Athens, Georgia, Clark County. I taught in Social Circle City School System. I taught in Loganville, and I spent 20 years teaching in Gwinnett County. All of this teaching was done in rapidly growing areas. And I can tell you the results were never good. When people rushed into progress, I guess is what we're supposed to call it, but I don't call it progress when we don't take a pause and look at the impact that we're having countywide, and especially in the eastern part of the county, which is still highly farmed. I would encourage you to take your time and take the county's time to see the impact that all of this new housing and new families and new children and new traffic is going to have. And I don't see any detriment that we could experience by taking a pause and measuring this. So I encourage you strongly to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, we'll have 42 seconds left. Anyone else would like to have that 42? Come on up, sir. Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
I'm David Gerard. I'm at 40 Hollyhock Lane. Just real quick, I don't have any time, but I understand the position you guys are in. We're trying to develop and become progress and all that. But I would ask you, I moved from Conyers to Covington to get away from exactly what we're talking about here. And I would ask each of you, do you want your record to be the group that turned Covington into the next Conyers? And I don't mean to offend anybody, but that is not the place that I want to live, and I don't think a lot of people that live in Covington right now want it to turn into that. So please, do the right thing, take your time, but consider that before you make that decision. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to give up 8 seconds? Guys, we have 8 seconds left. Anyone want to try your look at 8 seconds? Not you, sir. You already been up. Oh, already been up? Yep. Okay. No, sir. Anybody else want to try this look at 8 seconds? All right. We're going to close that portion of our public hearing. Hold on 1 second. We're going to revert back to the applicant. Sir, if you would like to come up and rebuttal. Have 7 minutes and 22 seconds to do so.
Thank you again. Let me finish up by telling you what this application is not. Number one, it's not a rezoning request. It is flume amendment. It's future land use map amendment. This will be back to you with a zoning request if we're successful and you see fit to approve our flume amendment. And at that time, you can dig into the plans, the densities, the lot sizes, the things you want to see in the development. Under accord, you get to be very site specific on the things that you want to see in the plan. Number two, this is not a rental project. We'll have protective covenants that preserve that right, and you can see that when we're back in for rezoning. The third thing is approval of this flume amendment does not open all of East Newton County to unbridled growth. And I'll tell you why. Because you limited the area when you granted the service delivery area to the city of Covington for sewer. You can stop that extension beyond that. It goes simply to around St. Augustine's Church. And if you don't approve an extension of that, they can't run the pipe and they can't be additional development. So you control that. Future land use maps and comprehensive land use plans are dynamic. They grow with changing conditions. You know, if it weren't the case, state law wouldn't require you to pass a new comprehensive land use plan periodically. And conditions have changed in East Newton County. Number one, Highway 278 has been widened to 4-lane in front of Morgan Farms. They did that because they realized we were going to grow east in the east portion of Newton County. Number two, Newton County, in conjunction with the JDA, planned and developed a multi-county regional industrial park in East Newton County. You know, and we invited Rivian, Archer Aviation, the SKC plant expansion, Ascent lithium battery recycling plant, and so many other industries into Newton County. And those industries are going to create next-gen jobs, and thousands of them. So we're going to have to provide housing for those workers who come to Newton County to be in our industrial park. The third thing is, this Board of Commissioners last year passed a sewer service delivery area and granted that to the city of Covington for the area we've talked about. That changes the reason that the Alcovy River Watershed Act was passed in 2009. So that changing condition will allow development in the eastern part of Newton County to the extent that you extend the service delivery area. And finally, just a few months ago, this board passed the 2023 Comprehensive Land Use Plan. And if you look on pages 78 and 79 of that plan, you'll see a star over Morgan Farms that designates it as a village center character area. And this is exactly what the code, the comprehensive plan, looks to in a village center. You know, when this was up a couple of weeks ago or last week before the Planning Commission, the Planning Commission member from District 1 sat right there, and when he made the motion to deny, he explained his motion. He said, this is kind of beyond our pay grade. The Board of Commissioners has to make the determination of how they want to see the East Corridor develop. This is a step in the direction of a good, planned, mixed-use development for the East that is located right adjacent to the Alcovy, the city of Covington corridor. And we ask you to approve our flume tonight, you know, to meet this housing demand which is going to come for the industry we invited in here. Newton County must provide the opportunity for new residential and mixed-use communities. And all of these communities cannot be located in West Newton County as they have for the last 3 decades. It is time for us to reconsider that policy. And I urge you tonight to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Wow. Wow. Ms. Applewhite, if you would, please come on up. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions, so we're going to. Commissioner Cowan. Commissioner Cowan. So you, sir.
Well, given the fact that the Planning Commission voted 4-0 to deny it, I'll make a motion to deny the request for future land use map amendment 23-000007. Wow. It's been motion by Commissioner Cowan and second by Commissioner Edwards. Any discussion? Commissioner, no, she was first. Yeah, Commissioner Sanders.
This is not an easy one, and I'm going to say why. As you all know, majority of the homes in Newton County on the western side of the county, there was no plan put in place. Houses were just thrown over there. The other issue is we are a subsidiary of the state of Georgia. So the state of Georgia economic development can come in anytime, i.e. Rivian, and throw industry in our county. What happens when you throw industry in the county when the commissioners have no decision-making processes, we have nothing control over it? You have to build houses. We in the state of Georgia, not only the state of Georgia, from Newton County all the way to the Atlanta metro area, I just came from a conference, we're in 138,000 homes in deficit. That means there's no houses. So my question would be to the residents on the eastern side of Newton County, because I don't know if the commissioners on that side have had community meetings with you all to see what's going to be a happy medium, because we have to build. I don't know what the happy medium looks like because I don't live on the eastern side. I know what it looks like on the western side. But we have to build. So what needs to happen is the community will have to get together with the two commissioners to find out what that looks like. You can't build one house on 10 acres. That's not it. Somebody sent us an email about there was a requirement to build one house on 10 acres. I asked Shana about that. That was not true. It's not true. That's for the whole county if you have farmland, but one house on 10 acres, that's not. So I think a lot what's happening is the education piece on what can and cannot be done, and the requirements in the county is missing, and I don't know if it's delivered to the people or what's happening in Newton County. I know in District 3, we were one of the most dense. We can't put another house in District 3. The infrastructure I'm glad that they started the infrastructure process, because we over in District 3 never had a chance to get the infrastructure, even on the western side. We've been trying to get Salem Road widened for, 20 years? And they keep pushing it back, and it won't start until December, and it might get pushed back again. We're trying to get Brown Bridge widened. We're trying to get Crawl Road widened, all those areas so we can have a fluctuation of traffic that's allowing people to get to their homes in good amount of time. But there has to be a happy medium, because the state is forcing this industry on us, and it's not our fault as commissioners because they supersede us. But these people have to have somewhere to live. So there has to be a happy medium to where the commissioners on the eastern side, you have to get with your people to decide on what's going to be that happy medium when we build homes. Because what's going to happen, the state's going to come in and take over. We don't want that. We want to make sure we have a plan so they don't come in and take over. So that's my concern is the building. I understand where the residents on that side is going. I completely understand because we feel it over on the western side. Nobody thought about us. I wish you all were there to fight for us. When they were throwing 20,000 houses over on the western side. I would love to have seen all of y'all support us, but nobody was in the audience for us. And so there needs to be a happy medium. I'm a person who votes with the people, but I also vote realistically. We can't build anymore on the western side, everybody. What do you want us to do? So I would love to hear from the commissioners that are on the eastern side, have you spoken with your people to say, what is the happy medium? What would you like? You can't build one house on 5 acres. That's not realistic. You can't build one house on 10 acres. That's not realistic unless you have farmland. So what is the realization? Even 2 is cost effective. One of the things that, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk directly to the resident, my apology, but even 2 acres, we are in a inflation. The average person, based on the statistics I've seen, the highest incomes are in District 3. The average person in Newton County makes between $55,000 to $65,000. They can't afford a $300,000, $500,000 house. We have teachers who are living in storage units and in their cars because they cannot afford. These are people with college degrees who cannot afford to survive. I'm not talking about Section 8. I'm not talking about that type of thing. I'm talking about workforce development. You have people right now who are homeless, who have college education and have jobs and cannot afford to live. So we have to do something. It is our job as elected officials to take care of the people, but we have to have a happy medium. Every decision that we make, everybody's not going to like it. I understand that. I completely understand. That's why it puts us in a horrible position, because we want to go with the people, but we have to be realistic. So my plea to the commissioners on the eastern side is you need to get with your residents and say, how can we have a happy medium? What would we allow? Because 2 acres, one house on 2 acres, 5 acres, 10 acres, we know that's not realistic with the inflation and cost of building. Right now, the average home costs $300,000. Nobody in this county that makes the average, a teacher cannot afford that. So that's my statement. Thank you.
Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Per the 2020 U.S. Census, in each one of the 5 districts represented here in Newton County, there's over 22,000 residents. As a matter of fact, in District 5, where this is located, there's over 22,479 residents in that particular district. Tonight we have heard from a few of those 22,479 residents on the eastern side of the county. I've personally also heard from individuals that are in favor. So I've basically heard it from both sides of the perspective. And so this does put this board in a very, very tough position to really make a decision on how do we move forward. I have to echo my Western Commissioner colleague. I have to. The western side of the county has a lot of residential development and growing retail development. Where was our community when the previous Board of Commissioners sat here and allowed that huge amount of residential and retail development? Where were the residents that said, no, we want to make sure that Newton County is this small hometown place forever? We've been here for over 200 years. And so where was that at that particular time? I've even heard that we must protect the watersheds on the eastern side of the county. Well, I'm here to say we have watersheds on the western side of the county that are being protected. So I don't understand from a perspective of if we develop on the east side, the watersheds won't be protected. But it's okay to develop on the west side. It doesn't matter if the watersheds are protected or not, but they are being protected. So I want to put it out there, just because you develop does not mean that the watersheds will not be protected. That should not be something that should be stated, because that's incorrect. We have a thing called smart growth. And so I heard a resident say that we should be patient and we should take our time. Well, when they were establishing the west side of the county, were they patient? Was the previous board, did they take their time and really put in a good strategy of building the western side of the county from a smart perspective? Did that occur? Just until last year, on the western side of the county, you could build homes on 1/4 of an acre, on 1/2 of an acre, and on an acre lot size. But for some strange reason, on the eastern side of the county, there was a 2-acre lot minimum size. Now, from what I have heard, and I stand corrected if I'm incorrect, that the 2-acre lot minimum was put in place to keep certain demographic of people away from the eastern side of the county. This is not right. It is not, and it creates a level of division amongst this community. This board has been set in place to provide a level of equality throughout the entire county. And so there is a current housing crisis right now, and Newton County is growing, especially with the large industrial companies coming to Newton County. So I pose this question to those residents that are on the eastern side of the county. What if the previous Board of Commissioners would have stopped residential growth before your homes on the east side was built, and many of you did not have the opportunity to purchase a home or to live in this amazing county? Is it fair to stop future residents from living anywhere in Newton County because it's an amazing county? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Guys, listen, before we go any further, we want to make sure, commissioners, y'all address the board members, okay? Please don't address the audience. All right. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So if I'm understanding everything right, since we screwed over the west side, we've now got to screw over the east side, is what I'm hearing. So, let me say this, and I don't mean that in a bad way, Commissioner Mason. You know, the racial thing is just, I've never heard that, but I'm not saying you haven't, I'm just saying I've never heard it. But previous boards sat in here, and you are absolutely correct, screwed over the west side of this county. Now, if you'll notice, that high density follows sewer every time, almost every time. So I just want to be clear that since we did the wrong thing on the western side of the county, and we did, previous boards did, many, many years ago, so we want to make that two wrongs make a right, is the way I'm hearing that. But let me move on, though. The watershed, we already have the happy medium in District 1 and District 5 and all the watersheds for that area, not specific to districts. We have, someone's already mentioned the ordinance that had the 2-acre minimums without sewer. So we have the happy medium. The next thing I want to address, and this is going to, all my economic development friends and all my chamber friends are going to hate me for this, but Rivian, Stanton Springs, we feel like we have to build houses for those employees. That's a 4-county area down there. We don't have to build another house in Newton County as far as I'm concerned, on the west side or the east side. It'd suit me if we didn't, by the way. I know that's not reality, but we're here tonight to talk about a development that is within 400, look, best I can tell, within 400, 500 yards of a river. So the next point I want to make is last spring, I believe it was, I don't know what the count is now, but last spring we had about 70 open positions in our sheriff's department. The great majority of those were in jailing and road deputies. Do we have the fire and the police services to take care of not only this development? Let's pause right there for a second. This is not the only development. Perpendicular to this development on Elks Club Road, they are planning 3,000 houses. I found out yesterday. A lot of people knew that before I did. 3,000 houses for Elks Club Road, the worst road in this county, without a doubt. So this only kickstarts. We got another one coming down behind Covenant Christian Church between 142 and 278. The same exact type development. We've got this zoned already in the Mount Pleasant overlay at the corner, at the intersection of 278 and Highway 11. It's been zoned that way. That's in District 5, by the way. It's been zoned that way for years, not one structure built down there, and it's already zoned. You can put this down there right now, not one structure built already. So I would ask that we pause. Now, the people that own this property, or I consider these to be friends to this point. I don't know about after tonight, but to go back to the watershed ordinance, one other thing, go back to the watershed ordinance. You talk about the next development down behind 142, on 142 and 278. The gentleman that probably authored that our watershed ordinance will be representing that client. That's another day. But he was the county attorney at the time. But I would just ask us to pause. I hear people talking about where all these people are going to live. We got to do something for the people that are going to move here. When are we going to listen to the people that are here now? The people that are here now, the people that have been living here all these years, myself included. You know, we make plans for everybody but the people that actually live here. Let me go back to the west side one more time. It was wrong. This board was wrong for doing what it did to the west side of this county, but it does not mean we have to start out that way on the east side of the county because we did it to the west side of the county. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanders.
Thank you so much, Mr. C. I had to pause because my colleague, and I respect you wholeheartedly because you fight hard for your community like I do, but you said something that was contradictory. You said, let's listen to the people. Well, there's been many times the people in District 3 have told you what they wanted, and you voted against it. So let's make sure we be clear with our words, i.e. park, and I'm gonna leave that there. Going back, point of order. I'm talking, I got the mic. Thank you so much. Let's go back into the statement that was made in regards to the infrastructure. Now, infrastructure has been provided for that side of town. Infrastructure wasn't provided for this side on the west side. This has nothing to do with, because you messed up the west side, we gotta put it on the east side. You making it that point, you're making it that way. We're saying that we have to move development. It cannot stay on one side of town. And my question to you was, have you spoken to your residents to give them the truth that we have to build? No, I'm talking. I didn't interrupt you. Don't do it.
Commissioner
Don't
Sanders,
do it.
hold up for a second.
Don't do it.
Commissioner Sanders, hold up for a second. Guys, listen. We're gonna make sure we respect everybody tonight. All right. Let's make sure we wait till we called on before we speak.
My fault.
Yep. And matter of fact, Commissioner, address me.
Okay.
Commissioner, y'all address me. Address
Yes,
the
sir.
chair. That's what we're supposed to be doing anyway.
Yes, sir.
That way we keep everything in order. Go ahead.
So that was why my question was, have we spoken to the people to see what the happy medium would be? We have to be realistic. There is no way you're gonna keep one side of town when we have all of this development. I get where you're coming from. I get you've stayed there for so many years, but Newton County doesn't even look the same 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It has changed. We have to figure out how we're going to move forward. As you stated, the state supersedes the county level. There's nothing we could do about the industry coming here. It's here. Do we have to find places for people to live? Yes, most definitely. Why? Because they're gonna be utilizing our roads. And guess who have to pay for those roads? These residents right here in Newton County. Wouldn't it be better if they stayed here and paid property taxes? To pay for those, wouldn't it be better, Mr. Chairman, if they paid property taxes and paid for those roads? They're gonna be utilizing those roads every day. So we do have to find a happy medium. I'm not saying just stack houses on top of houses like the west side. I've never said that. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But we have to figure out a way, because we have to move forward to build. It's being realistic. And if anybody else was sitting in this seat and know what's going on and what's coming to this county, you would say the exact same thing I'm saying. We have no control of what's coming into Newton County. We have no control over it. And that's all I have to say.
I'm gonna go to Commissioner Henderson because he had his hand up and I didn't see him. So Commissioner Henderson, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. C. Well, you know, I'm not going to have a debate about with the citizens over in that part of town, District 1 and District 5. The only thing I want to say, I guess my question is, Mr. Applewhite, would there be enough, if it's the board approves maybe moving forward, would there be enough infrastructure? Would there be enough sewage? Or would it be a part of whatever they came up with down that way? Or how would that work?
So the question about the sewage, that would be determined by the City of Covington and what they're able to provide. As Mr. Johnson explained, there was an intergovernmental agreement, and that is what they're working on. So I wouldn't have an exact answer, a direct answer in reference to the sewage tonight on that.
Okay, so even, and I guess I'm still directing the question, even if the board was to somehow or another, if they agreed on approving that project, then before they could get, that would come back to the board, and then kind of tell us where the sewage may be coming from and or whatever they need for that particular project.
Yes, if the Flume amendment was approved tonight, the applicant would come back before this board for the actual rezoning, at which time, you know, they should have an answer for that, as to whether the city is prepared to provide that service or provide a way for them, or provide a way for the developer to get that service out there.
Yes, ma'am. And I remember the intergovernmental agreement. But just let me say this, and I'm proud about the longest serving commission on sit on this board. You can go back and put on every commissioner who ever lived if you wish to, but times have changed. And you know, at some point, I think some point in our lives, you know, the same piece of property, like for where I live, for example, it used to be 2 vacant lots beside me. Now one person on one lot building a house next to it, and the lot behind me still building next to it. Now, if I could have bought all that property, which I couldn't afford it myself, I'm talking about me, then it would probably be the way I want it. But I can't control other people's property. And most people that I know since I've been up here, you know, they say, well, mom and dad maybe have gone on to heaven, and I want to sell this property for me and my family, or whatever they want to do with it, and they no longer want to pay those high taxes. Now, I do know, and I'm talking to Ms. Applewhite or Mr. C, I do know some people have properties that they want to sell, and they can't sell it because of the 2-acre minimum. That's something I didn't vote for now. 2-acre minimum, and they can't sell it. The only thing pay taxes on it, and then the county won't buy it from them, so they kind of stuck in between a hard place. But if we as a board, we want all of us to work together like as we should, then we got to be kind of remember that all of us are elected officials. All of us have a constituency who wants different things did in their community, which I think we should support. You can't go back and just kind of dodge me, forget about me, and then you come work the next 2 or 3 meetings and want to say, "Whoa, yeah, you got to do this." And so, you know, I think it, you know, so what we got to start doing is working together. And if we don't work together, I think we're going in probably the wrong direction, as we should. And one last thing, I'm gonna shut up. I work when I started this board, there was one person of color on this board. There was myself. And even though we disagreed, even though the people disagreed, I still was able to get up and you know, we could go out and talk later on. We could go out and eat dinner. But these are all new times, and I'm praying for all of us. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to expound on the discussion, and just to put it out there for even myself, with any of my commissioner colleagues, even those colleagues in Commissioner District 1 and District 5, we all try to do our best to work together and make the best decisions as possible. I don't want it to be communicated to the residents of Newton County to say what my colleague said, which he knows I respect him highly, but we don't want to make the same error that we made potentially in the western side of the county. I think what we're doing now is we're actually trying to prevent that from happening, which is why we're moving in a direction of smart growth. When you look at where this particular site is located, it's very near current development, as well as the city of Covington has already stated that within the next 12 to 24 months, you will have sewer. My commissioner colleague in District 1 said that generally development follows sewer. Well, now that the city of Covington has that service delivery area, that is what they're projecting, is to put sewer there. It's already in motion. They're already making design plans. So this current development is following sewer. In addition to that, I think this particular board has a great opportunity to really sit down and look at our county as a whole. Currently, we have one side of the county that is urban suburban, and we have another side of the county that is predominantly rural. Well, I don't think that we should rule out any rural areas within our community. I think what we should do as a board is designate and specify where we're going to have agriculture or where we're going to have rural land. I don't believe that it should be one whole half of the county, maybe a quarter of the county, but we as a board, we sit down and we designate where that's going to be. If we don't, as a board, sit down and begin to really look at our map, look at our county and say, well, where should we develop and where should we not? We're going to find more and more annexations coming to this board from our municipalities, because guess what? Our municipalities, they want to develop. They want to grow their counties, because what that's going to do is that's going to generate revenue for the municipalities. Well, if we continue to sit on undeveloped land, we're going to have more and more annexations come before us. So I just want to encourage this board, why don't we sit down and make a plan on how we want our county to look and where we want to develop? We see right now this particular site is smart growth. It's not like it's on the far eastern side of the county. It's right there off of the main thoroughfare, Highway 278, near 142. We just put a roundabout there. You know, the sewer is coming. It's already a mile, half a mile away from town center. So it's truly developing. And so I think we as a board should really look at this particular site and realize that this is actually smart growth. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, do we have, and Shannon, you may be the wrong person to ask, it may be Mr. Johnson that we need to ask, do we have any idea of when sewer would be available? Did we state that already?
No, in my conversation with Trace Thomas, the city manager, he did not give an exact timeline of when it would be ready. He did say that there were other projects there also have ahead of this one, but he didn't have an exact timeline. But they are working, it is on their horizon at some point.
I guess the next question to my colleagues would be, why wouldn't we want to hear this when we had a firm date on the sewer? Why would we want to hear this now when we don't have sewer? Well, clearly the applicant has said they're waiting on sewer, or they said the sewer coming. I assume that's a condition of their build out. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Mason.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. So tonight is really just the amendment to the future land use map. This is not a rezoning. So I want to emphasize, this is not a rezoning. And so before this particular project could even move forward, before they even do any grading, before they do anything, that sewer is going to have to be in place. And so to even get this rezoned to be able to do this, they're going to have to come back before this board. Tonight doesn't say, okay, well, because we're making an amendment to the flume, now they can just move forward. They never have to come back to us with any type of diagram or specifics. And at that particular time, when they come back before this board, which I'm sure that more than likely they will come back before this board within another 2 years, once it has been done, to get the rezoning changed. At that time, I think this board has the authority to be able to put those conditions in place. So tonight is just the amendment of the future land use map. It's not rezoning. And so I don't think that it would actually hurt us to actually go ahead and make that amendment in preparation for what's to come. And so with that being said, Mr. Chair, because this discussion can go on and on and on all night, I want to make a substitute motion that we approve FLU 23-000007.
Is there a second?
That is correct.
Yes, I make a motion that we approve FLU 23-000007.
Is there a second? A second? It's been motioned by Commissioner Mason and second by Commissioner Henderson. Any more discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? It passed 3-2. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Applewhite. Next, we have It's citizens' comments. It's an opportunity. We allow citizens to make comments. Well, yes. Have 3 minutes to do so. Please. Hold on for a quick second, sir. Hey, guys, we're still in the.
One second.
We're still in the.
My name's David Norton. I live at 43.
Hold on, sir. Guys, we're still in our meeting tonight. If you want to leave, we're going to ask. If you're going to leave out, we're going to ask if you would do it quickly. If not, we're going to ask you that you wait till we get done with the meeting. If you're gonna leave, we'll ask you to do it quickly. If not, we actually hold on a second. Go ahead, sir.
My name is Dave Norton. I live at 4357 Highway 142, and I believe you all have my email. If you need help on the west side of Newton County, look me up. I'm not an expert. I'm not highly educated, but I'll do what I can to help y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Again, Kim Shue, 60 Quail Valley Road. It was brought up, had our commissioners spoke to the people in this district, and they have. And it's clearly stated 2-acre lots. If you want to develop this project, do it how it's already currently ordinanced, at a 2-acre lot. I have no problem with a 2-acre minimum for that development. What I do have a problem with is townhomes and however many 300 homes they want to put on 1/4-acre lots. That is not something that needs to be on, that area of town, and it's not, it doesn't go with that area of town. Part of the comprehensive plan said be sensitive to what that area of town has, because people value the rural nature of it. So approve the development if you want. Just make them put it on a 2-acre lot.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Jeff Bishop, 10144, Twin Oaks Drive, Covington. I own some acreage out off County Road 229, and my plan is to build me a house right in the middle of that. And if I want to build a house in the middle of 500 acres, that's my right to do it, and I don't have to think about what it means to somebody else. If I've got the money to do it, I think that's my right. But I'm really concerned about the traffic impact of all this, and this is just opening a Pandora's box. We got the camel's nose in the tent now, and all these other things are going to start falling across the eastern part of the county. And as far as the industry here, I don't want any more industry in Newton County. We don't have enough people here to work more jobs. We got less than a 3% employment, 3% unemployment rate right now. That's more than full employment. I don't think we need any more jobs in Newton County. I don't think everybody in this country needs to come to Georgia, and I don't think everybody in Georgia needs to come to Newton County. And as far as these big development projects go, the only people that it serves and helps are the people doing the buying and the selling and the building, and they make all the money, and then they go off and live in some gated, guarded subdivision someplace, and they create for themselves a lifestyle that insulates them from the kind of problems they create for everybody else. I've got 5 kids that still live in this county, and they're on these roads all the time. And that stretch of Highway 278 is getting very, very dangerous right there. People passing on the turn lanes, people passing around curves and hills. It is a very scary prospect just to drive to work every day now. And I think this was not good. I wish y'all had listened to the Planning and Zoning Commission for this, and I hope that it can be turned around. I just want to say one more thing, and I don't like, to be personal or anything like that, but Commissioner Mason, I've met you before, and I think you're a nice person. I like you, okay? But that comment that you made about race a minute ago, to me, that was a low blow. That hurt my feelings as a citizen. It did. I've worked all my life to try to have good race relations with people that don't look like me, that don't talk like me, and I think I've been very fair. And I tell you, I know some white people that I don't trust, and I know some black people I think a lot of. But you kind of pulled the race card out there, and I think that just brought a whole different dynamic into this thing, and I wish it hadn't happened. And just one more thing, I've got this county comprehensive plan, and you're showing this purplish area over here, I guess to be the Stanton Springs and the Joint Development Authority. And the question I have is where is the accountability for the Joint Development Authority to the people, to the citizens, to the voters and the taxpayers? It looks like to me they're operating on some kind of law that was passed in the dark of night that people didn't understand and didn't know about. And they're answering to kingpins out of the state. They're
Thank you,
answering to
sir.
people downtown.
Thank you.
And the people don't have a say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Yeah.
I am Susan Elliott Carter, and I live at 982 Jeff Cook Road, Mansfield, Georgia, off of Highway 229. I would like to tell you that 278 has been nicknamed the Newton County Autobahn. Okay? And if you don't know what that means, on the Autobahn, you drive as fast as you want to, as fast as you can get away with. And a lot of people are getting away with it. I live on Highway 229 at the intersection of Jeff Cook Road and Highway 229. I can't tell you how many people have run off the road through the fence and released my cows to the environment. I get called by the sheriff's department when that happens, even when I was living in North Carolina, to come make sure that my cows don't get in the road. I want to remind you all that agricultural means farming. How many of you have visited a farm in Newton County lately? There are a lot of them on the east side. How many of you and how many people out here are complaining about the prices in the grocery store? Well, when the farmers in Newton County on the east side give it up, because if you don't know, there's a term called land poor, which means you own a lot of land, but it isn't profiting you anything. I came to this meeting from a field where I was planting ryegrass. When you're a farmer, you're not ever finished, okay? You just quit when it's dark or when the headlights on your tractor don't work well enough anymore. I would appreciate it if all of you would come and visit the farms on the east side, because it's not agricultural development. It's not absence of land use. That land is being used. If you've seen hay bales, they relate directly to beef cattle, which relates directly to hamburger meat. Thank you.
Anyone else? Please state your name, your address for the record, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Larry McSwain at 35 Glengarry Chase, Covington, Georgia. I live right off of Elks Club Road, so obviously I was very interested in the discussion tonight. But I was very disappointed to hear so many misleading or uninformed comments, even on part of some of the board members. I, too, was extremely disappointed on Commissioner Mason's statement. It's certainly below him, based on what I know of his past. He's been very respectful and a very competent board member. So I'm very disappointed with that, Mr. Mason. I was around when they passed that ordinance. 5 commissioners had to approve that two-acre minimum on the east side to protect our water supply, which we draw from the Alcovy River, by the way. So it had nothing to do with race, obviously. Somebody said, I wish we had a plan. I believe that was Mr. Mason also. Well, you just eliminated the plan. The plan was called the Future Land Use Map, which is what the county saw as to how the property should be developed in the county in the future. But just about every month, you change that land use plan. So you got a plan, you just don't follow it. A couple other things. I want to be sure to cover these. I was really disturbed to hear Ms. Sanders so concerned about the west side and what had allowed to happen there. I've been in Newton County for 30 years. Actually, during some of the development period for the west side, I actually was working part-time for a developer. It's not my area of expertise, but it was an after retirement job. The reason the West Side was developed as it was is because 5 commissioners sit here, including those that represented the West Side, and approved every one of those projects. In some cases, they approved it because one of the board members at one point was a builder and had a lot of influence on the board. So to say that somehow the West Side wasn't represented or treated badly, that is simply not true. It was represented by commissioners who voted for every one of those projects. To say that we don't have control over development is one of the big misunderstandings. The county, the city, the state provides incentive after incentive to promote growth, residential and industrial. The state and county and city is spending $1.5 billion to bring Rivian here. If we didn't spend that money, there wouldn't be no Rivian. And that's the way it is with virtually every one of the development projects that we worry about providing resources to. We create the problem. Government creates their own problems and the problems that the citizens have to pay for. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
My name's Stan Heineman. I live at 200 Newton Ridge. I have a pretty different perspective, something that none of us thought about or talked about tonight. First off, is Eastside High School is in its 2nd year of operation. It is already at maximum capacity. Also, all the middle schools and elementary schools are the same. These schools are not going to take the load that you're talking about putting in with almost 1,000 new homes in these 2 properties that are coming up. So, second thing is public safety. I spent 48 years fire, EMS, and 911 dispatch. My subdivision, since Station 4 was moved to its new location, is no longer in a fire district. We're all now rated at a 10. Do you know what our insurance ratings went up? Commissioner Edwards can tell you about our ratings. This project that we're talking about tonight, I think is probably going to be out of that 5-mile range or very close to it. At a minimum, it's going to be at the very edge, and no matter what their rating is, there's still extremely long response times from Station 15 and Station 4. EMS in this county has horrible ratings at this time. National EMS runs a regional EMS. They have Rockdale, Newton, Morgan, Oconee, and Athens, Clark County. Do you know where our ambulances run? Wherever they're needed for that service, not for us. I sat and watched Engine 15 sit at a neighbor's house one day a year ago and wait 30 minutes for an ambulance to arrive. I timed it actually 29. That's not acceptable. Law enforcement stays tied up in Commissioner Sanders' area. I see constantly on the Nextdoor app what's happening on Salem Road, what's happening here, what's happening there. Our guys have to run over there instead of being run our areas. We have to fix these things before we can allow people to move in. Finally, 1-acre lots are okay. I'm not against 1-acre lots. You know, I know that development's coming, obviously, with what's going on. Since I've retired, I've gone into business for myself. I understand some of those things better, belonging to the chamber. It's coming, but it has to be very controlled. This is not the type of development we need, not to control that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
My name is Linda Shue. I live at 60 Quail Valley Road. I lived in Rockdale County for 32 years. I had my dream home. Loved it. Had the best neighbors. Then all of a sudden, they wanted to put a strip mall up on the main corridor. And from there, it went on and on and on. So when you're sitting in your house and someone is shot up at the strip mall and they run through your backyard, what are you supposed to do? You lock your doors, you get your gun, and you figure, how in the hell can I get out of here? I was afraid to go outside at dark. From there, we decided we would move down to the end of 278 and build another dream home. While that was being built, we stayed in an apartment here in town. At night, I would not go outside. It was not safe, and I value my life and my family. I wish I could change this, and everybody, it's about family, and it's about growth, but change is not always good. Believe me, I know. I know about destruction, I know about family matters, because my son was killed because of a drug dealer. So I know how these things go in communities when you start building things that bring people in that destroy things, they don't take care of them. If they don't own it, they don't take care of it. If you own something, you take care of it. That's my feeling. And that's when you see destruction is when somebody doesn't own the property. So I hope you consider my thoughts. Like I say, I didn't know I was going to get up here and say this, but I felt you needed to know what has happened to my family. Now that we've moved down, now we got to decide, are we going to go out even further? Because you're going to vote yes or no, and if it's yes, then yes, we'll move it down further. There are other counties that have other structures that we can move into and be a lot happier. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Yes, David Gerard, 40 Hollyhock Lane. I'm here to represent the homeowners at Brookside, which is across from Lockwald. So what I find very ironic is that in 2009, somebody on the board felt it was in their interest to protect their property. Now, years later, it's no longer their interest. Now their interest is something else like money. So now everything has changed. That happens way too much all over the place. If it's good at one time, doesn't mean it should not be good when it's financially beneficial for you. So I have a problem with that. I've served on, I was elected official in a state other than Georgia. I've been through the stuff you guys are going through. I know how hard it is. But that has to be considered. Also, one of the commissioners said Georgia controls the development. The only course of action you have is to control the things that you can control. It doesn't matter how many businesses Georgia wants to put in the county, you control how many people get to live here. And how many other counties have to help support that. As somebody else stated, it's 4 counties affected by those big things. Let them do their part. We already have. I drive down 278 every day on my way to work and on my way back. It is crazy, absolutely crazy. Somebody called it the Autobahn. Been on the Autobahn, totally agree. It's crazy. And it's not 55, 60, 65. It's 70, 75 miles an hour, 2 lanes down there from 5 o'clock until 6:30. There's a ton of people. It's too many. One of the reasons I moved to Covington from Conyers was the lot size. We wanted a bigger piece of property other than the 3/4 of an acre that we had. And where I came from in Conyers, house, 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 house. You could reach from one window almost into the neighbor's house. That is not something that we need here. You asked about a compromise. I think somebody else stated it. A compromise, make them the 2 acre minimum. We moved here, we saved our money, my neighbors are here. We moved here because of the fact that we wanted a place where we felt safe. When you start dropping the price of homes just to make it so more people can live there, without fail, you're gonna get higher crime rates, you're gonna get higher rates in those things that you don't want when you stack that many people that close together. That has to be considered. This is just the start. Commissioner Mason said, this is just the first step. This is the first step to stop it. Once this step once you've approved this, it is so much harder to stop this moving forward. I've tried in other places. Once you get that first approval, things start rolling because the next group says, well, they approved it, so it must be we should approve it. And the other question I have is, there was a motion on the floor to deny this. What happened to that motion? I don't think legally you can put another motion on the floor till the first motion has been addressed, which was never voted on. So I'm going to ask whoever the legal representation is for this board, you need to look at that because I don't think your vote is legal. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
John Dobbs, I live at Dry Pond Road. I just have one question for y'all, all y'all. How many more deputy sheriffs or police officers do you think you're gonna need for this big project y'all just voted on? That's at least $50,000 per person. Commissioner Edwards said they were 70 short. Okay, if they're 70 short, 70 times 50,000, that's a lot of damn money. How
Sir.
many,
Sir, please refrain.
how
from-
many fire department personnel?
Sir, please refrain from using profanity, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
How many fire department personnel y'all gonna need? I don't know how much firemen make, because I wasn't a fireman, I was a deputy sheriff for DeKalb County. Over on my, over at 162 at Wildcat Subdivision, this year alone, I know of 2 murders that happened there. So more crime's gonna come in. More people's homes gonna get burglarized. And all y'all sitting up here saying, we need progress, we need progress. Well, I think before you need a progress, you need to have adequate police officers or deputy sheriffs, adequate fire department, in case a house burns down. What if one of them townhomes catches on fire? How many people are lost from that fire? At least 2 families. What are y'all gonna do then? Where are they gonna go? That's it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't, my comments will be brief. You know, obviously I'm disappointed in the vote tonight, but we still have a zoning. I would urge all the you know, the citizens to understand we still have to go through the zoning, and at a minimum there can be restrictions put on the zoning. So I'm not saying the zoning is going to pass. I'm just saying that's at the, you know, that's kind of where we are. Secondly, Commissioner Sanders, my apologies for interrupting you earlier. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to just briefly address the comments that were provided to me, and I wanted to provide a level of clarity, if I may. The statement that I made in regards to the demographics wasn't what I personally believe. I was merely stating that this is what has been stated to me, and so I wanted to just put it on the record that that is what has been stated to me. You're absolutely correct. If someone was to interpret that that was my personal belief, that is definitely beneath who I am. I am a person of equality, and I am a person that's willing to work with everybody. It doesn't matter who it is. I do believe that sometimes here in Newton County, we have grown accustomed to remaining a certain way. I believe I heard one of my colleagues state earlier that things change. Nothing stays the same. And so as our county changes, it is up to this particular board to make the best decisions that we possibly can to keep up with that growth, to keep up with that change. And so sometimes you may hear things that come across this board may not be our own personal ideologies or our own personal beliefs, but we do hear from constituents or residents that feel that way. And I believe that this board, even me as an elected official, I'm always in an education mode. And sometimes what I try to do is just to get us to look at things outside of the box, from the box that we're currently in, because sometimes we can remain in a box and we're never able to keep up or maintain with where the future is going. I remember years ago, there was no such things as computers. Were we going to say, no, computers, no, they're evil? No. We had to learn to embrace the change of technology. And so all I'm posing to our residents in the county is to say, look at the great things. We talked about the increase of property tax. Well, if we really want to provide a level of balance to our property taxes, we cannot shy away from development, because when you bring in a certain portion of development, what that does is it can potentially drive down the residents' property taxes, because now you have industry and you have commercial that are taking on more of that tax base. And so you have to look at it from that perspective and look at it from all angles. There is no perfect answer to growth. This board is charged with doing our best to look at where we currently are and try to figure out, well, how do we enhance the quality of life? We want Newton County to be a great place where you can live, you can work, and you can play. And so how do we get to that point? And it's to really look at smart growth. It can't be no growth or zero growth. It has to be smart growth. And I think when we look at the future land use map, that is our map. But we also have to look at it too, that things change, nothing stays the same. And so we got to make sure that as we're changing and implementing change, that it is a part of smart growth. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Sanders.
Thank you so much. And Commissioner Edwards, I do accept your apology. I understand you were fighting for your community. That's why I said I wholeheartedly respect you, because we have that in common. We fight hard for our community. Just to add on a little bit, when there was a statement made that the smaller houses and the decrease in the price brings crime, I want to inform you that is not a true statement. And the reason why, I'm a person of stats and statistics. I love numbers. I don't know if you guys know that District 3 has the highest income in the county of residents. You have smaller homes on that side. District 3 has the highest educational rate with master degrees, people on that side of town. And they're smaller homes and smaller lots. When I think of pricing, I'm not talking about Section 8. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about workforce development. You have firefighters, as you heard me say, EMS, law enforcement, who can't afford to live. That's called workforce development. They can't afford to live. Now, we talked about we need more law enforcement within the county, but where are they gonna live? They can't afford a $300,000 or $400,000, $500,000 house. Not making $50,000 or $60,000 a year. Law enforcement making about $50,000 a year. A teacher makes $50,000 a year, and they have master's degrees, and some of them doctoral. And they don't make past $60,000, and they're teaching our youth of the future. Where they have the right to have a place to live. We have to think about that. As they stated, there's restrictions you can put in place to make sure there's no rentals or investors coming in. I have an issue with investors buying up property. That's what's happened over in District 3. Having homeowners association, you can put those in the bylaws and the codes to stop those various things. So that can be put in place. Commissioner Henderson and I recently just had a meeting with the CEO, the new CEO of Piedmont. One of the main things we told her was, we have to do something about this EMS. Because as you know, we don't have the 911 certificate anymore. So that is given to Piedmont. So we have to find a way to make sure that we're taking care of the residents. I completely understand when you have a resident's house is on fire and they're not getting to you on time and it burns down completely. That happened in my subdivision. That happened in the subdivision next to mine. I completely understand, but we have to go somewhere. I do hope that the two commissioners, my colleagues, will also get with those residents to see how we can make sure that what you're having on your side of town is something that you would love and grow. We don't want to lose anybody to any other county. This is a great county. We hope that you can stay here and be happy as well. But we have to understand that smart growth has to happen. It's not going anywhere. One of the gentlemen mentioned about the industry coming into Newton County. As you know, a lot of us here on this board didn't know Rivian was coming into the ribbon cutting. I had no idea Rivian was coming until they was on the Capitol steps and they were here. And some of the other companies, I didn't even know they were coming until they had the ribbon cutting. That's what it's called when the state supersedes the local level. We answer to the state. The local level doesn't tell the state what to do, they tell us what to do. So when they're bringing in industry, we have to find a way to make sure these people that are coming here to work, we want to make sure that people here in Newton County have jobs. Do you know majority of people that live in Newton County work outside of Newton County? 65%. Remember, I love numbers. I'm gonna bring you only facts. 60+% of the residents that live in Newton County do not work in Newton County. They work downtown Atlanta. So they're in traffic every day, all day, trying to get home because they can't find jobs here in Newton County that pays the rate that Atlanta does. They would love to be at home, live, work, and play, just like some of you all may work from home and have your own businesses. They would love to be able to spend more time with their children who are in school, but they see them at nighttime because they're stuck in traffic. They would love to do that. But in order to do that, we have to have the economic development. We have to have the industry in there. So we have to make sure we think of smart growth. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Mine is short because I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to go. You know, some people ask me the question, say, why have you been in politics so long? Why have you been elected, I think, several times, a little over 20, my 26th year? It was very simple. Treat people the way you want to be treated. You can't treat people just any kind of way and you expect for them to go along with you for what you want and you bypass what they wanted. Thank you, Mr. C.
Thank you. Commissioner Cowan. Thank you. Guys, I seek a motion that we adjourn, please. Motion by, I'm sorry. Did I get a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? Stand adjourned. Thank y'all. All in favor? Stand adjourned. I'm ready to go home too.